everybody, my name is Zool, and welcome to the next episode of Modding Fallout New Vegas 2017 edition. That's right, we are back, and just like I talked about in the introduction episode, today we are going to be looking at user interface mods. These are all going to be mods that affect your user interface. We're also going to be installing a rather large game overhaul in this mod, Project Nevada. If you're really interested in these mods and you want to get full details on them, I would suggest checking out the mods pages or looking up showcases. I know I have some on my channel, but I'm working on getting coverage for all of them. The main thing that we're going to be doing in today's video is improving the user interface. The user interface in this game is designed for consoles. The UI is very big for when you're sitting very far away and looking at things on a TV. However, if you are playing with mods on a computer in front of you, having a smaller UI that is more information dense when you need it, but fades away when you want to look at the beautiful scenery, is kind of what we're going for here. We're also going to be adding a few things like some changes to the guns that make them overheat and a weapon wheel. All things that show up in the user interface, they're going to feature in this episode. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so as you can probably already tell, this episode has to deal with user interface mods. They expand the game in a really big way, and there's a bunch of things we're going to be adding. They need to be put in this specific order, so follow closely, buckle up, and get ready to install a bunch of mods. We're going to start off by installing Darnified UI, and we're going to be installing it with the link provided by the Wikistep project. So click on the link in the description and it will automatically download version 04 beta of Darnified UI. Once you've done that, drag it to your desktop or wherever you would like to keep it if you back up your mods, and launch Mod Organizer. From Mod Organizer, we are going to need to add a mod from a file. You can do this by clicking on this button right here and clicking the Install Mod button. Then I'm going to select my desktop. I'm going to type in D for Darnified UI. Right there, DU version 04, and I'm going to hit open. It's going to ask us how we'd like to install it. Click manual. You'll notice that everything's already set up the way we need to go, so we can just go ahead and click OK and then check it off. That's right, that's all it takes to install Darnified UI. Next up, we're going to be installing two NVSE plugins. These are going to be required for the rest of the guide anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and get them out of the way. The first one is the Latuna NVSE plugin, and this just allows for some extra scripts to be done in the game, so go ahead and download this manually, since that's your only option. We're also going to be installing the JIP NVSE plugin. This is going to be used for the JIP mods, which we're using later on in the video, so head over to the file section and download this with Manager. Requires NVSE, but we already got that, so don't worry about it. Okay, once that file has been downloaded, we're going to go ahead and head over to our desktop, which is where I've dragged the Lutana NVSE plugin. This one needs a little restructuring in order to get things to work properly. I've gone ahead and I've extracted it using 7-zip into a folder. I've also gone ahead and created a new folder by right-clicking on my desktop and hitting New Folder. Inside this new folder, I have created another new folder. This new folder is called NVSE. Inside this folder, I've created a folder called Plugins, which looks exactly like this. Inside this Plugins folder is nothing. Now I'm going to open up the Lutana folder. This is the NVSE plugin we got earlier. This is the file we downloaded. I'm going to take the DLL and I'm going to place it inside the Plugins folder in our newly created Lutana folder. Then I'm going to get rid of the archive and the old one, and we're just going to be left with this folder. With the folder done, we're going to right-click on this, select 7-zip, and click Add to Archive. This is going to create a zip folder, which is going to then be installed using Mod Organizer with the following process. Open up your Mod Organizer, click on the Install Mod button, scroll down to the newly created lutana.zip that we just created, hit OK. It might require you to hit manual, and you may need to set the data directory, but after that, everything will be properly done and you can hit OK. That NVSE plugin is selected. We can also go ahead and install the JIP NVSE plugin. Once that's done, go ahead and check it off and everything should be A-OK. Okay, so now we have those NVSE plugins installed. What we can do now is move over and download all of the mods that we're going to be installing in today's video. So to start off with, we are going to go ahead and download the FPS weapon wheel. This is the one that basically changes the weapon wheel to be a little bit more like a first-person shooter. You can just download this file with Manager. Next up, we're going to download our first of the JIP mods, JIP Realistic Weapon Overheating. Yes, it sounds complicated, but trust me, it's actually very fun and challenging. It's going to give you a notice here telling you need something called the Mod Configuration menu and UIO. Don't worry if you don't have those, we will be installing those, but the installation order for this section of the video is actually very important, so please follow along carefully. After we've done that, we're going to install JIP Selective Fire, which is going to allow us to change the selective fire for our weapons, and JIP Companion Commands and Controls. This is going to make it so that if you're carrying around a companion with you, things are going to be running a little bit better. Again, this is going to be just a download with Manager, simple as that. For our final JIP mod for this section, we are going to be improving the recipe menus by making things a lot easier, a lot more convenient. So download that with Manager as well. After that, we're going to download the big one. I can't really imagine playing a modded Fallout New Vegas without Project Nevada install, and as you can see, it has a lot of things that change the user interface, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to download the main file of this with Manager. This is version 2.5, and then we're going to continue with our download. This is a very large download, so you might have to be patient, but we're going to keep going. And as always, I highly recommend that you endorse and consider donating to the mod authors whose mods you enjoy. I'm sure they would greatly appreciate it. Next up, Project Nevada Extra Options. This is just going to add a whole new extra slew of options for Project Nevada. Make sure you download this after Project Nevada. Again, the installation order of this guide is specific, so please be careful. Okay. Now that we've done that, I'm just going to open up a new tab here, and we're going to continue with our downloads with the Mod Configuration menu. Without this, most of our mods aren't going to work, so you really need to make sure you download this. Again, it's really simple, just a download with Manager. Next up is the Weapon Mod menu. This again, very easy to download, however, no download with Manager button is present, so we're going to have to download this manually and drag it to our desktop. Don't worry, I'll walk through how to get that going just as well as the other mods. After that, we're going to install OneHUD. OneHUD is great. I pretty much never play without it. To install OneHUD, we're going to go ahead and download the OneHUD made file, and we're also going to download the OneHUD Darnified UI patch, which is present right here. It says there's another file with the same name. That's because I probably downloaded this earlier. Don't worry about that message. After this, we're going to install Flashlight MVSE, which is going to be really useful for our Darkroom Night mods that we're going to be adding later on. Download this one with Manager. And finally, we're going to be downloading User Interface Organizer. This is the mod that's going to bring everything together, make sure everything's going to be working, and all that jazz. So you need to download this last, download with Manager, and I highly recommend you donate to support this author because this mod is crazy useful. One more mod that I forgot earlier is Dynavision. If you like dynamic depth of field like I do, this is a great mod to have. It's really awesome because it actually helps you with distant textures because they're not going to be as in focus. You don't need to worry about improving them as much. It can also improve performance if you're into that kind of thing. I like using Dynavision, so we're going to go ahead and download this one with Manager as well. Okay, it's time to actually install these mods. Remember, they need to be installed in a very specific order. We've already installed Darnified UI and the two NVSE plugins, so now we can just move on to the first mod in the slew that we just downloaded all at once, which is the FPS Weapon Wheel, which in my game, for some reason, is at the bottom of the downloads list. I'm not sure why, but double-click to install it. You're going to have to hit Manual and set the data directory correctly. After that, though, it'll appear over there. Once you're done that, we can go ahead and start to install the JIP mods, starting with Realistic Weapon Overheating. These mods are set up properly, so they're very simple to install. Next up is JIP's Selective Fire. Again, I always like to check with Manual. Then JIP Companions Command and Control. Again, that one's set up properly. After that, we're going to do the JIP Improved Recipes mod. There we go. And as we're going here, we can just check these off in our main pane over here and continue with what we were doing. Okay, so next up is the big one, Project Nevada. When you double click on this, it's going to give you an external installer. Don't worry about this isn't the game crashing or anything like that. It's just going to take a moment and launch up a separate launcher for us to configure the mod a little bit. Alright, so something like this should pop up and it's going to show you all the different modules. We're going to install all of them because they're all great, so just hit the install button. It'll take a few more moments to process that, and then Project Nevada is going to pop up in your main pane in Mod Organizer. After that, we can go ahead and install the Project Nevada extra options, which is going to do the exact same thing. In this one, you'll notice that the middle equipment module is not selected. Do not select this. This module is not finished and will cause you problems later on. Just leave the core, cyberware, rebalance, and DLC modules activated and hit the install button. Then you can check it off in the main pane. After that, we can install the mod configuration menu. This is going to run an external installer as well, but it's just going to look like this and check to see whether or not you have New Vegas Script Extender. We do, so we can go ahead and hit install and activate this mod. Next up, we are going to need to install that mod that we downloaded manually, the weapon mod menu. To do that, all we're going to have to do is click the install mod button, select it from wherever we placed it. In my case, you can see it's right there on my desktop. So all I need to do is scroll around until I find the weapon mod menu. I'm going to hit open. It's going to run an external installer as well. It detected NVSE, so we can click the install button, and then we can move on after checking it off. Okay, now that we're onto this, we can do OneHUD. OneHUD's a great mod, and it's set up properly too, so it's a real simple one to activate. After that, the OneHUD Darnified UI patch needs to be installed. And it's going to ask you if you would like to merge this file or replace. Next up, we're going to install Flashlight for NVSE. Go ahead and double click on this. It'll take a few moments. It'll detect NVSE, it'll detect this, and there we are. Installing Dynavision's easy. Double click on the mod, hit manual just to make sure everything's okay, and then hit OK. It's that simple, and now we can move on to our final step. And then finally, User Interface Organizer. This one needs to be done last. It's very important because this is the mod that's going to bring your entire heads-up display together and make sure everything's working properly. So double click on this, it's going to run an external installer, and then it'll appear in this section here. Okay, so we've done that. What we should do now is just quickly sort through our projects, or our files here. We're not going to be doing loot to do a full sort through, we can deal with that all later, but we're just going to hit the sort button in the plugins tab. That should roughly get things into the right positions they need to be in. And then we're going to actually go ahead and run the game by clicking on the run button, making sure that NVSE is selected. We're doing this now just to make sure that everything is A-OK, it started up properly. So we're going to start the game, start up a new game, and check to see if all the menus are working properly. Okay, so I've launched up the game and you can probably already tell things look different. The HUD is hidden thanks to iHUD. If we press escape, mod configuration menu is now an option and Darnified UI has been successfully installed. If you click on the mod configuration menu here, you'll see an MCM for most of the mods that we installed today. You're going to want to take a look at these because there are going to be some settings that I'm sure you would like to change. You can move things around using the adjustable HUD, stuff like that. I'm not really going to be covering the details in this video, so go ahead and check that out yourselves. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you're wondering what to watch next, I have provided 2 videos for you. You can click them right here. Get subscribed by clicking on that circle icon and subscribing to my channel, and please follow myself and Shoelace on the social medias that you see above. Thank you, and have an excellent day.